तो मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। We will learn Totakashtakam today. Page 51. So Totakashtakam is written. So there was a disciple of Shankaracharya ji who used to travel with him and who used to serve. He used to clean the utensils, wash the clothes, serve the master. Very devout person, but he always had desire to learn. The name of the person I think is Giri. So he has a desire to learn always, and he would complete his work and come and sit down and listen from far. So one day he did not come. He was doing more work. And Shankaracharya ji was waiting. All the other students are there with him, but he is not starting the class. So everybody thought, we all have come, why is he not starting the class? And they had a superiority complex in them, that we are renunciates, we are Brahmins, like that. When Giri came and he sat down behind, that day Shankaracharya ji called him and he said, you take the class. He was so devoted to the master, he said, if the master has said, then he will only make me capable also. He came, he prostrated, and through him this composition came out. This meter in which this is written is called Totaka meter. So 8 verses in praise of the glory of Shankaracharya ji, he wrote. He composed right there, and he is saying that to the people who are, the students who are there. And then he became one of the prominent disciples, one of the 4 prominent disciples of Shankaracharya ji. Shankaracharya ji gave him sannyas and Totakacharya is his name. So this is his composition. Viditākhila shastra sudha jaladhe Mahitopanishad kathitartha nidhe Hridaye kalaye vimalam charanam Bhava Shankara Deshika me sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshika me sharanam Karuna Varunalaya Palaya Mam भवसागर दुःखविदून हृदम् रचयाखिलदर्शनतत्त्वविदम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवता जनता सुहिता भविता निजबोधविचारणचारुमते कलयेश्वर जीवविवेकविदम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भव एव भवानिति मे नितराम् समजायत चेतसि कौतुकिता मम वारय मोहमहाजलधिम् टुगेदर भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् सुकृतेऽधिकृते बहुधा भवतो भविता समदर्शनलालसता अतिदीनमिमं परिपालय माम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् करदेशिकमे शरणम् जगतीमवितुं कलिताकृतयो विचरन्ति महामहसच्छलतः अहिमांशुरिवात्र विभासि गुरो भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् गुरुपुङ्गवपुङ्गवकेतनते समतामयतां नहि कोऽपि सुधीः that sudhihi, to say he, don't eat away. We eat away the he or we sprinkle where we don't need to. Samatamayatam nahi kopi sudhihi Sharanagata vatsala tattvanidhe भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् ताल तो फॉलो करो भवशङ्करदेशिक में शरणम में 2 टाइम्स है ना वो भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् विदितानमया विशदैककला न च किञ्चन काञ्चनमस्ति गुरो धृतमेव विधेहि कृपां सहजाम् भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणम् भव शङ्कर देशिक मे शरणम्। बोलिए श्री आदि शंकराचार्य भगवान की जय। So last time we had seen about Nididhyasan, Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now spiritual progress. There are various stages in spiritual progress. We all want to know what are the milestones, the destination that we have to reach, from where we are when we start, what are the milestones that will come on the way, and when we reach there, how do we know we are progressing? So, in this spiritual path, though it is very subtle, the path is given very clearly, which we have seen earlier also. What was it? Karma Yoga has to be done, Upasana should be done, then go develop Sadhan Chatushtaya, go to the Guru, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Then Sahaj Samadhi. Path is given. It is a broad path, right from beginning to the end, full path. In that, this specific portion is about this state of realization. That what is the state of realization and how do we know that we are progressing in that path, especially when we start doing subtle contemplation, etc. So here now from Yoga Vasishtha it is taken. So different scriptures give the path. Here it is from a book called Yoga Vasishtha, where Vasishtha Rishi is teaching Bhagwan Ram. You just think, Bhagwan has taken avatar as Ram and he is Bhagwan. And Vasishtha Rishi is teaching him. Bhagwan doesn't say, why do I need a guru? I myself am Bhagwan. Why do I need a guru? No. He learns from the guru. So the tradition, what it says, the Veda, what it says, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, and that a person must go to a teacher and learn. Bhagwan sets his own example when he goes to Vasishtha Maharshi and he learns. That's a very huge text, Yoga Vasishtha. From that one portion is Laghu Yoga Vasishtha. And in that, the Saptagnana Bhumika is there specifically. 7 stages of knowledge, or call it as realization also. 7 stages of spiritual unfoldment, actually it is properly written here. Jnana Bhumika. So the 7 stages of this spiritual self-unfoldment, so out of these 7, it is divided into 2 groups. First 3 are for the seeker who is not yet realized. The next 4 are for a master who is already realized. So now we will see one by one. So these stages, Bhumika literally is a stage. Now this is meant for us to understand from which level to go to which level and how to go. And also these 7 stages of knowledge confirm to us that this is not something very vague. It is very, very clear. Though it is subtle, the state is to go beyond body, mind, intellect, to abide in the self, which is Sachidanand. It is not something which is abstract, so unknown, and that anybody can decide anything in their mind and say, "Okay, now I am realized person." No, no. There are very clear stages given. So it helps us to know the progress at each stage, our own progress, as well as what is that final state. Also, it becomes very clear. There is no ambiguity about it. What is the state? Because there's lots of doubts which we have. These 7 stages also clarify those doubts. What is the state of realization? Whether that master experiences the world, does not experience, if he experiences, what is his attitude? All those doubts all get cleared in these 7 stages. Very nice it is. So what are these 7 stages now? Let us read. You can repeat this. This shloka from Laghu Yoga Vasishtha is explaining verse 113 and 14 from this 13th chapter. Explain these 7, not explain, they point out these 7 stages. These 2 verses will tell us these are the 7 stages. Jnana bhumi shubhechakhya prathama samudahrita vicharana dvitiya syat tritiya tanumanasa सत्वापत्तिश् चतुर्थी स्यात् ततो संसक्तिनामिका पदार्थाभाविनी षष्ठी सप्तमी तुर्यगा स्मृता. So Jnana Bhumi, the Jnana Bhumi is as though the field of knowledge, the ground of knowledge, in which these 7 are now stages. First is what? Shubhechakhya. Jnana Bhumi Shubhechakhya. First is Shubhecha, auspicious resolve. Each one we will do detail. Then Prathama Samudahrata, that is the first one. Vicharana Dvitiya Syat, reflection is the second one. Tritiya Tanumanasa, the thinning of the mind, attenuation or thinning of the mind is the third one. Sattvapattis chaturthi syat. The fourth stage is Sattvapatti, that is realization of the truth. Sattva here is not guna. Sattva, people think Sattva is guna. No, Sattva here means the truth, the reality, absolute truth. Sattvapattis chaturthi, the fourth stage is Sattvapatti. Tato asamsakti namika. See, there is in the shloka, there is one avagraha. So it is a. So don't think it is samsakti. The next stage is called asamsakti, absence of any attachment. Padartha abhavana, objectlessness. Saptami Turyaga Smrita, and Turyaga is the 7th one, the 7th stage. These are 7 stages. Now let us see. First stage, what is Subhecha? Sthiti kim mudha evasmi prekshe ham shastra sajjanaihi vairagya purvamichcheti shubhechetyuchyate budhaihi. Now, one thing you should remember, these 7 stages are again from beginning onwards. Beginning in the sense from the evolution onwards. Don't confuse this with the earlier lesson ka continuation. Don't say that, okay, after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Sahaj Samadhi, then these 7 will come. Don't mix up like that. That is over. Realization is over in that. This is little more elaboration of that. So don't equate both those. So first one is this Sthiti kim mudha evasmi. where one introspects that what kind of a life I am living. Why am I running behind people? Why am I running behind so many objects? I have got what I wanted, still there is a sense of incompleteness. Anger, fear, insecurity, they have not gone. And no matter what I do in this world, I will still remain a limited jiva only, finite entity. So what is it that I am doing? Till a certain stage in life, generally, there will be exceptions always, generally one is chasing certain things. In that chase, one doesn't even think about any of this. So I want to get proper education, then get a job, then get a house, and get some proper money, and then have a marriage, have a family, settle down. So the mind is in one track. Now that one has gone through some of that, then one is wondering, now I got all that. Now why am I doing? For what did I do all this? And especially when some difficult situations come, then it is like a wake-up call. Then one wonders, what is the objective of all this? Why am I doing all this? Why am I so attached to people, and then conflicts and fights and so many things are happening? Why? So sthiti kim moodha evasmi. So all these basic questions one asks. What is it that I really want? Because I'm living as though I'm a deluded person. Moodha eva asmi. It is interesting. When one is actually fully in delusion, one thinks one is wise. But when wisdom starts dawning, then one accepts what a dull, stupid fool I was. Why did I do like that? So Gurudev used to say that acceptance of ignorance is the beginning of the wisdom. That I don't know. Arjun kept on talking full first chapter, so much justification he gave. Finally he said, Dharma sammudha chetaha. I am confused about my duty. And he surrendered. He said, you please guide me because I can't think clearly now. So for a long time in our life, we think we are going on the right track. Everything is fine. This is how life is supposed to be. After that, then one wake-up call comes, or some karma of the past and grace of the Lord, one is made to understand, Arey, this auspicious resolve then comes that let me find out the real purpose. Why should I do all this? What is the way to fulfillment? Now when I want to find that real purpose, then what will I do? Preksheham Shastra Sajjanaihi. I want to get out of delusion, I want to get out of ignorance, I want to get out of attachment, get out of sorrow. Who should I go to? See, here luckily it is that he is at least turning to Shastra and Sajjana. The scripture and the masters who have realized, or seekers, either of them. Go to them. No, I don't need any teacher, I don't need any scripture, I will do it on my own. Okay, that is also okay. You can do on your own, but it will take a lot of trial and error has to be done because now it is not known. If somebody wants to go to Mount Everest on their own, they can go. Here, there, find out this, that. Somehow they will manage and take time and go. Or find out somebody who has already reached there, ask them which is the way, how did you go, what are the conditions, understand, start following. One will reach. So here he is saying that Shastra Sajjanaihi, one goes and asks, who is this person now called? Because he wants freedom and he is seeking the guidance of a person as well as of the scripture, now he is called Mumukshu. Now this Mumukshu, he goes and he asks and he finds out. Vairagya purvam ichcheti shubhecha ityuchyate budhaihi. This is because of dispassion that has come in the mind. When Vairagya is there from the worldly enjoyments and sense pleasures and all that, then this person has said, now is time to turn within, enough of running outside in the world. With the help of the scripture and the teacher, now turn. If Vairagya is not there, this Shubhecha will not last. It will just come like a passing desire and it will just go. There may be many reasons for that. It may be one's own desires and vasana pressure. It may be work, duties, so many things can be there. One is bound by many things. So even if one wants to evolve, that desire for evolution, for satsang, for sadhana comes, goes away. But if one has done some good karmas and this vairagya sustains, then this shubhecha will sustain. You see, one reason why this example given is Jnana Bhumi. The shloka starts with Jnana Bhumi. So the Bhumi is the soil in which these seeds are sown. And then it will give the fruit of realization. Through 7 different stages, how this will grow. So it needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs manure, it needs protection. All those things are required. Then this knowledge, the fruit of knowledge will come out. As seeds of spirituality are sown, then the fruit of knowledge will come. So for that, here it is that vairagya is important. Vairagya purvam ichcheti. So because of that vairagya, then what happens? This sustains. What is given in this course material here is that note that this shubhecha is not an overnight change in thinking. It is not just sudden. One shot it comes and it goes. It cannot be sustained if it is like that. It indicates a prior life marked with nobility, the practice of karma yoga and cultivation of sadhana chatushtaya. Then only this will sustain. So it is both ways. You may say, but Swamiji, we don't have sadhana chatushtaya, this, that before. First comes shubhecha or first comes this? First comes the desire to evolve. Then you go to the shastra. Then we learn, acha, this is called karma yoga, or this is called guru upasati, this is called sadhana chatushtaya. Then one cultivates. Keep the company of seekers, satsang. Then that shubhecha sustains because of shastra and guru and the satsang. So what is said here? Sajjana and shastra. They play a very, very important role. In the world also it happens or not. Simplest example, if we want to learn anything, suppose I want to learn how to swim. I can learn on my own, but I will struggle, and many times what will happen? I will not progress, I will not be able to understand properly, no proper technique is there. I may give up also, I may not even learn properly. But if I go through a teacher, then systematically one learns and one sustains, one progresses, one will achieve. In the same way here, the desire to evolve has come. The question is there. It bothers a person. Then a person goes finding solution. Go to the time-tested wisdom is scripture. Why should I go to scripture? Because it's time-tested wisdom and following it, many people have reached it. And why should I keep the company of Sajjana? Because they are already walking the path. It becomes easy to walk when we have company of such people who are themselves trying to live in self-control, training their senses, training their mind, and living in such a way that the mind is prepared to realize the truth. Especially this applies in this spiritual context because many people, majority of the people are extroverted. The seekers are very few. Those seekers have to protect their spiritual seeking. Otherwise, the people's opinions and their comments and their non-cooperation will put off this spiritual fire. So the company of seekers matters a lot. In fact, the company of people who are Nastic, etc., must be avoided till we become strong enough. Otherwise, our spiritual pursuit gets shaken up completely. Because they are convinced there is no God, there is no religion, no God, no scripture, no religion, nothing is required. And in fact, there is nothing called a purpose of life at all. Maximum will be eat, drink, be merry. One life only is there. Now that if that mindset and that thinking is there, it appears very convincing. And I am not strong enough, my whole spiritual pursuit gone. And out of 100, maybe one person is having that spiritual desire. So the pressure of 99, this one person has to handle. So how is it possible? Unless that person has some strength of support. So Sajjana. Now this stage is the Shubhecha. Shubhecha ityuchyate budhaihi. This resolve must be there. And that's why one has to protect this spiritual sadhana. This resolve that comes. That is like a seed. If that seed is protected, then it will sprout properly. If that seed only gets destroyed, then nothing much can be done. So now the first stage. Now comes the second stage. That Shubhecha sustains because of satsang, scriptural study, etc. It deepens with reflection. So now the second stage is Vicharana. Shastra Sajjana Samparka Vairagyabhyasa Purvakam Sadvichara Pravrittirya Prochyate Sa Vicharana. So the second stage, this is called Vicharana. What is done in Vicharana? Shastra Sajjana Samparka. With the continuous association with the Shastra and the Sajjan, Vairagya Abhyasa Purvakam. So three things are done. Four things actually are done. Shastra Sajjana Samparka, continuous study of the scripture and company of the seekers one must have. Actually one should ask every day, what scriptural study did I do today? Our Upanishads, they tell us very clearly. More than 20 times it comes in Taittiriya Upanishad itself. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. Don't postpone your study and your sharing. Like every day we ask, no? Every day we eat food. How we eat food for the body, we breathe, we sleep, we work. All that is required for the body. What is required for the buddhi? Scriptural study must be done. So, Shastra Sajjana Samparka and company of seekers. Then Vairagya Abhyasa Purvakam and practice Vairagya. Practice Vairagya means, we have seen before how to practice Vairagya. Dosha Buddhi and Dukkha Buddhi. If there is some temptation that arises where I have a strong attachment, some sense pleasure, I have to see the flaw of that, the limitation of that and the pain of that, both. So that the mind doesn't become extrovert. Now then I can't enjoy anything. Specifically for those which we have attachment towards, those desires when they arise, I have to see the pain of it and the limitation of it. Enjoyment is not prohibited. Enjoyment as a victim is not good. Where I become attached to it. And where I feel that happiness is in that. Vairagya is that healthy state which we saw, no? Ichha rahityam, absence of craving for pleasures, phalabhogeshu viragaha. Iha amutra phalabhogeshu viragaha. Here and hereafter, the absence of craving for bhoga, enjoyment, sense pleasure. That is called Vairagya. So those who want the self, then they will need Vairagya. If I say, no, Swamiji, I want this world also and then I want that also. Then wait, this is Manda Vairagya. It is slowly it will become Madhyama and then Tivra, then we will come. So here it is that Abhyasa Vairagya has to happen. Vairagya Abhyas means includes Vivek and Vivek only leads to Vairagya. So Dosha Buddhi, Dukkha Buddhi, the more I see, because the mind will only show Sukha in the sense pleasure. I have to see the dosha in that. Gulab Jamun, so nice Gulab Jamun, long gone, big, hot. Mind will only see pleasure in that. Dukkha it will not see. Swamiji, there is no dukkha in that, there is only sukha. Ask the body, it will tell you. The amount of white sugar that is there inside it. No, Swamiji, I squeeze it fully. All the rasa is gone. Then only I eat. Maida is also there. Ask the stomach what happens to it. But smell is so good, Swamiji. Why don't you enjoy something else which is more healthy? Dukkha of that, if I see that if I eat that, sugar will go up in the body, stomach will get upset. Swamiji, that all nothing happens to me. I exercise, my stomach is very strong. Sugar also, I don't have a problem. So I just eat. Problem is not eating. Problem is the mindset with which I am eating. The mindset is a bhoga mindset, that rasgulla I need for my happiness. Are you able to let go of it or not? No, if required, I let go. There is no requirement, no. See how much the mind will go on justifying. If gulab jambu is given, why can't I eat it? The question is not about eating or not eating. Question is about what is my attitude. Do I say that happiness is in the world outside? With that bhoga vritti I am eating it. And if I have to let go, do I feel regret? Arey, itna अच्छा गरम गरम गुलाब जामुन था, जाने दिया. अच्छा. Then that mindset is the problem there. Because that mindset cannot reach Bhagavan. One gulab jambu I cannot let go. How will I let go of this ahankar? Think. The dearest to me is ahankar. Gulab jambu is not so dear to me as my ahankar is dear. If gulab jambu letting go is difficult, then where will I let go of ahankar? So it is that mindset. So this vairagya has to be practiced properly, strengthened. Dosha buddhi and dukkha buddhi, especially towards those things where I have lot of craving and attachment. Then the fourth thing comes, which is sad vichara pravrittibhyam. Then only the thoughts of reality I can reflect upon. If these three are not there, shastra, sajjana samparka and vairagya abhyasa, these three are not there, how much ever I try to contemplate Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, nothing happens. Why? Because the mind will not stay in Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, because it doesn't have vairagya, it does not have proper knowledge, it does not have vivek. Where will it stay? At the maximum, music of that will sound very nice. So I may appreciate music. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Soothing. Which rag it is? Who sung it? That early other version of it, no? Of that organization, that is better than this. What am I doing? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Mind has gone somewhere only. Where Chidananda Rupa Shivoham I will do. It doesn't remain only on that. Somewhere it will go. Because these three are required. Then this sad vichara pravrittibhyam, sad vichara pravrittirya prochyate sa vicharana. That is proper vichar. See, vichar is of the sad vichar only. But for that sad vichar to happen, the bhumika which is there, the background which is there is these three. Shastra, Sajjana, Samparka and Vairagya Abhyas. Same way earlier that Shubhecha, the bhumika is Karma Yoga. I should do, follow certain values, live in dharma. Then the Shubhecha will rise and sustain. Same way here. So this vicharana is actually the stage of mananam. So this mananam has to be done. Reflect. Shravan and manan. Vicharana means Shravan, manan both included here. The word may be vicharana, but this manan cannot happen unless Shravan happens. So Shastra, Sajjana, Samparka indicates Shravan also. Listen to the scriptures, listen to the great masters or seekers, and then reflect upon that based on Vairagya. So this is the Mananam stage. Shravanam and Mananam stage is this. In this stage what happens? Even when I am listening to the knowledge, there will be past impressions, they will come up. I have to put aside with dosha buddhi, dukkha buddhi, again bring back the mind to reflection. That has to keep happening. And we have already seen what is Shravan, what is Manan. Shravan is to determine the essence, Tatparya Avadharanam. Mananam is Yukti Bihi Anuchintanam. With logic again and again to dispel all the doubts in the mind that how can I be the self? How can the world be unreal? Those doubts, they have to be removed. That is Vicharana. So that is this stage. Now, then comes the third one, this Tanu Manasa. What is this Tanu Manasa? Page 5. विचारणा शुभेच्छाभ्याम इंद्रियार्थेष्वसक्तता यत्र सा तनुतामेति प्रोच्यते तनुमानसा. So here it is vicharana shubhechabhyam. Because of vicharana and shubhecha, indriyartheshu asaktata. Complete detachment from sense objects. Yatra sa, when that state is achieved, tanutameti, the mind has become thin as though. Prochyate tanumanasa. That is called tanumanasa. Generally, we want to reduce our waistline. This is reducing the mind line. Mind which is so fat has to become thin. Meaning, so many desires are filled in this mind. All that goes. That mind becomes focused. Tanumanasa. So generally you will see the people who are tapasvis, they will be thin. In what context? Because the bhoga ichha is not there. So food also which they take is basic maintenance of the body. Beyond that they won't take food also. You know, when Mandukya Upanishad used to start in early times, when Gurudev started the Vedanta course at Pavai, Mandukya Upanishad is the highest Upanishad, last Upanishad which we'll generally learn in the Vedanta course. So he used to give food only one time in a day. At 11:30, that's all. No food after that. No food before that. And night, maybe evening, some milk or something. That's it. No food. Why? Because why do you need food? Sit and reflect. Now, at the end of the 2-year course now, and one is thinking world only is not there. So world only is not there, then what food you want to eat 3 times a day? Subtle thinking has to come. The more we reflect, more subtle thinking comes. I'm not saying stop eating food or reduce it. I'm saying that is a attitude. Tapasya is the attitude. So bhoga vritti is not there. Indriyartheshu asaktata. One doesn't crave for sense pleasures. And on the other hand, one is steadily contemplating on the self. Yatra sa tanutameti. How has that happened? Because of this dispassion, earlier that reflection which one did. So this is the stage of nididhyasan and savikalpa samadhi, both. Because nididhyasan is the stage where we steadily contemplate on the truth, and then savikalpa samadhi is absorption in that truth. But in that truth, when the mind is absorbed, then there will be, the triputi is still there. If you remember last time what we did. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the Triputi goes, but in Savikalpa, the Triputi still remains. And so he says here that this is the stage Tanu Tam. So the mind becomes most, you see, from so many thoughts about many things to many thoughts about one thing, which is, let us say, contemplation on the self if I am doing. Then asangoham, punah. I am detached. Then I am Sachidananda. I am imperishable. So this detached, Sachidanand, imperishable, these are all different thoughts, but about one, same thing. From many thoughts about many things to many thoughts about one. From many thoughts about one to one thought about one. And then the mind absorbs in that. So hold on to any one, either Asanga or Sachidananda or any one pointer. So this mind has become so thin, absorbed in that. But the attitude is still there that I am the meditator, the mind is absorbed in this. So that state is this Tanumanasa. So these three are the states of a seeker who is still not established in the truth. Now comes the next four. They are the state of a realized person. But then why are there four stages? That is only because of their experience. And there are different prarabdhas each person has, so different experiences each one will have. But their realization is one and the same. So we'll come to that. As we understand, we'll see. So these three states are also called as Jagrat. Yoga Vasishta together calls them as Jagrat. Because these three have to be practiced in Jagrat Avastha. And one is to a certain extent conscious of the externality. Now the next four are much more subtler. So they will be called differently. Sattvapatti, Asham Shakti, Asham Sakti, and Padartha Abhavana and Turyaga. These are four which are of a Jivan Mukta, person who already realized. In the earlier three, it is still stages of progress and practice. The next four are not stages of progress, they are stages of a Jivan Mukta. Now, what is that? Let us see. Fourth state is page 6. भूमिका त्रितयाभ्यासात् चित्तेर्थ विरतेर्वशात् सत्वमात्मनि स्थितिः शुद्धे सत्वापत्तिरुदाहृता सत्वात्मनि स्थिति शुद्धे सत्वापत्तिरुदाहृता Bhumika Tritaya Abhyasat. By the abhyas of these three earlier, Chitte Artha Virater Vashat. The mind has withdrawn from all the objects. And then what has the mind done? Is it become blank? No. Sattva Atmani Sthitihi. Sattvatmani means the self. Abidance in the self. What Bhagavan says in the Gita, in the Sthita Prajna Lakshan, Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan. All the desires born out of the mind, the master has withdrawn from. Then is his mind blank? No. Atmani eva atmana tushta. Is established in the self by the self. That abidance in the self. See, this is where the difference comes. Many people think it is thoughtlessness. No. It is abidance in the self. Withdraw from all objects and then become what? Blank. No. Abide in the self. Sattvatmani sthiti. Shuddhe. Shuddha is also about this Atmani only. Is adjective. The pure bliss, pure consciousness. Establishment in that. Sattvapatti udahrita. This is the state of Sattvapatti. So as I said earlier, Sattva does not mean the guna here. Sattva here means the self. So the abidance in the self that my true nature is Atma. And what is the definition of Atma? Do you remember? Swamiji, Atma? Definition? Did we learn? Maybe in some other course you taught. फाउंडेशन कोर्स में होगा वो. एडवांस में था क्या? स्थूल सूक्ष्म कारण शरीराद व्यतिरिक्तः पंचकोशातीतः अवस्थात्रय साक्षी सच्चिदानंद स्वरूप सन यस्तिष्ठति स आत्मा. इसी कोर्स में था. That time, remember, I said in the middle of the night, if somebody wakes you up and you say, define Atma, you should say, Sthula, Sukshma, Karan, Sharirad, Vyatirikta, Panchakoshatita, San, Avasthatraya, Sakshi, Sachidananda, Swarupa, San, Yastitati, Sa, Atma. Go to sleep. You should get inside. That Atma I contemplate upon and abide in that. That state is called Sattvapatti, which is the state of Jivan Mukti. Realization of the truth. Absolute truth. Abidance in the absolute self is the realization of the truth. Bas, ho gaya. Not blank, not thoughtlessness, nothing. How will I come to this? What we saw last time. Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa. Constant abhyas of Nirvikalpa will lead to this abidance. So this is that state. And the knower of this self is called Brahmavit. Brahmavit. Vit means to know. Brahmavit, knower of Brahman. And this Brahmavit, for him, the whole world is appearing only as a dream, which you and I have to do as a sadhana. For that person, it is an experience. It is like being in the dream while knowing that it is a dream. That state. For us, we have to do that as a sadhana because we are thinking the world is real, so we are running behind it and then we have attachment towards it and then we feel miserable or we feel greedy. So many problems start because we think it is real. So our sadhana is, we keep telling inside our mind, it is illusion, it is illusion. This is an illusion, that is an illusion. This is an illusion, that is an illusion. Both. We can't hold on to this as real and say this whole thing is illusion. This is a part of that only. This body, mind, intellect is anatma, that we already saw. Panchakosha, 3 bodies, all that is anatma only. So it is a part of the Jagat, Srishti, created. So this is illusion, that is illusion. That is our sadhana. For this person, because he is established in the self, having withdrawn from all objects. See, when we say having withdrawn from all objects means what? Not withdrawn only from the objects outside, but also from body, because body also is object, emotion also is object, thought also is object. Of what? Of I, the pure I. Pure I is the subject, which is a witness. Everything else is the object. So if I withdraw the attention from all outside things, then withdraw from the body, then from prana, then from mind, then from intellect, then from ego, then what happens? Abidance in the self. For that person, this whole world appears as a dream, as an illusion only. Why? Because the person has experienced that self. Like the waker who has woken up and then consciously gets into the dream, knowing that this is a dream, one knows this is an illusion, it is not real. Like one is seeing the movie, one knows it's an illusion. It is like that. So hence this state is called as dream, the swapna avastha. Remember, the person is still seeing the world. In the earlier 3 stages it was called Jagrat because the person was seeing the world and practicing both. Abidance has not happened. Here now the abidance has happened because full withdrawal from the world has happened, including the BMI. Abidance in the self. Now this person has no doubts. Now the person knows experientially this is a appearance, this is not real. That is this state. So this is Brahmavit. And hence, even if this person lives in the world, so here, this is the person whom we see working in the world, who is a realized master, who lives in the world, like Gurudev or Vivekananda or such great people. You see them working in the world, building institutions, running organizations, interacting with people, all that. But in their mind, all that they know is an illusion, is not real. It's like small children, how they make the, in sand they make the castle and then the city and then the animals and the birds and plants and everything they will make there. Is all illusion, is not real there. But for some of them in their mind they will think it is real. But the parent knows, array, this is what, nothing is there. So in that way this person it is. So then why do they serve? They don't want anything. Then they serve for what? Either some prarabdha karma they are exhausting, or Bhagavan is using as an equipment, saying that here is an equipment which has become empty, I will use it. Why should I take avatar? Unnecessary Bhagwan has to take avatar and come. For us, not required. Through this equipment, Bhagwan functions. Actually, Bhagwan is functioning through all of us. Only that in realized master it is very clear because his ego is zero. In all of us it is not very clear because we keep bringing up our ego. Otherwise the functioning is happening because of the Lord's grace and his presence only. He is only functioning through everyone. A realized man recognizes it, experiences it, is one with that Lord. So here is a person who is a knower of Brahman. So he is called Brahmavit. So this is the fourth stage. You may say, what remains after this now is realized? Why three more? Two more stages, three more stages, 5, 6, 7, क्यों चाहिए? हो गया ना काम, जीवन मुक्ति, बस. This is where it is, the depth of our scriptures is unfathomable. And these masters who have realized this state also, and they have revealed all this to the people, that this is what will happen. So when you move ahead, then you know, okay, these are the steps. So now what is the next stage? This stage, fourth stage, is this sustained practice of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Then comes the next one, you see. Dasha Chatushtayabhyasad Asamsarga Falatuya Rudha Sattva Chamatkara Prokta Samsaktinamika. See, in every shloka, if you see, they keep telling that by the practice of the previous. See, Dasha Chatushtaya Abhyasad. If the four are practiced earlier, then Asamsarga Falatuya. There will be no attachment. Asamsarga. Samsarga is attachment. Asamsarga, no attachment. And then Rudha Sattva Chamatkara. Then what happens? One has constant awareness of that supreme truth. Sattva is the, again, supreme truth. Rudha Sattva Chamatkara. One will have constant awareness of this truth in this state. Prokta Asamsakti Namika. It is called Asamsakti. By continuous practice of this earlier stage, which is a Nirvikalpa Samadhi, one will come to this state. Now, what is the difference in this state and this earlier state? So, in this state, in the earlier state, when there is attachment to the body, the Jiva Bhav is still there. Earlier stage meaning Nididhyasana stage, not the exact, the fourth stage. In the Nididhyasana stage, if you remember, there is Nididhyasana is done primarily for this sake, that the feeling that I am the Jiva is still there. Even if I have intellectual conviction that I am Brahman, still I feel like a Jiva. So that bhav of I am a Jiva is there. Then we come to Savikalpa Samadhi. In that the bhav of I am the Jiva becomes lesser, but the Triputi is still there. But in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the Triputi goes away completely. Now that continuous practice of this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then what happens? Absolutely there is no chance of this body identification rising again. Gone, completely burnt away. The seed of that is burnt away. Otherwise one comes out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Here, seed gone. Asamsakti. See what is written here. By the repeated practice of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, all I-ness in the upadhi such as body, mind, intellect, as well as my-ness with respect to object and beings associated with the upadhi, such as house, relative, authorship of ideas, disappear completely. Hence this is called Asamsarga, Asamsakti. No attachment at all. No trace left out. Fully gone. Now what is this state? The realized master in this state is called Brahmavit Vara. So this is grammar, Sanskrit grammar, or even in English you have no positive, comparative and superlative. Good, better, best. Now that is in degrees. Here when we say Brahmavit, then Brahmavit Tara, then Brahmavit Variyan, then Brahmavit Varishtha, 4 stages. It doesn't mean that first level, at level 4 is some 60% realization of Brahman, level 5 is some 80%, level 6 is some 90%, and level 7 is 100%. It is not like that. You don't say, I think that person is only a Brahmavit. I have seen Brahmavit Tara. And I think that person is Brahmavit Tama or Brahmavit Varishtha. In Brahman there are no gradations. This is only from the standpoint of their experience. See, the person who is living in the earlier state, Jivan Mukta who is Brahmavit, that person is still seeing the world. To function in the world, a certain relative identity is required. That relative identity is known by this person as an illusion. For you and me, that relative identity is real. But for this person, the person knows this is an illusion. It's like an actor. Actor playing the role knows very clearly that I am not this. No identification with that is there. But still the actor has to play the role. That is the earlier stage. The next stage, the actor doesn't play the role only. Meaning actor has given up the costume and everything, gone. So this master doesn't see the world, is established in that state. He is not perceiving this world. The other person is perceiving the world but knowing it to be unreal. Why is he perceiving the world? Because some prarabdha karma is there, so the person has to act in the world. And it is one good thing, because if such people were not there, how will we know realization exists? They are the proof of Jivan Mukti. Otherwise, everywhere else they will only say realization is after death. And their understanding of realization also is very different. Here it is that we say realization is while living here and now. And it is in complete dissolution of the ego and establishment in the self. That is the state of realization. So in this one, it is the Brahmavid Vara. He gets absorbed into that state, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and comes out of it also sometimes. Again will go back into that state. When that person comes out of that state, one may experience the world little bit, because one has come down to body level. But their understanding is never that I am this body. When we do japa, I am just giving japa example, or even nididhyasana example, we may say Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. But the body identification that I am this is still there, deep. So we still act with that attitude that I am the body. This Jivan Mukta doesn't act with that attitude that I am the body. That was the fourth state. This fifth state is that person spends maximum time in Samadhi only, comes out of it but knows that this is unreal. Jivan Mukta spends more time maybe serving people. The amount of time that the Jivan Mukta spends, the Brahmavit spends in Samadhi is much lesser compared to the next one. All are Jivan Mukta only. Brahmavit is the previous fourth stage. This fifth stage is Brahmavid Vara. So in this stage, he spends much more time in Samadhi, comes out by his will, has some basic transaction, again goes back to that state. So that is example given here is that the mind of that person is like the autumn sky. Now the cloudlet that dissolves in the autumn sky. Chittam tu Sharad Abhramsha Vilayam Praviliyate. Like the cloudlets which are there in the autumn sky, they will just merge into the sky. They will not give rains. And it's not even a big cloud, it's like a cloudlet. So Tanu Manasa, and then one has come to this earlier state, and then now to this state, dissolved. So this Brahma Vidvara, example given, difference between Brahmavit and Brahmavitvara is like the person who is traveling in the desert is seeing the illusion, seeing the mirage and knows that it is an illusion. That person is Brahmavit. But one who is traveling in the desert and doesn't even see the illusion, that person is Brahmavittara. No, but how is that possible? He is not seeing. Don't go by the literal analogy. That has a limitation of example. Here, what does it mean? This person goes into the state of samadhi and remains there for a long time, comes out of it of his own accord. Of his own accord meaning what? By some past karma he comes out. And this person does not do much for going into the world and acting and serving and spreading the knowledge, nothing. Again goes back into that state. So continuously comes, goes. Not because they need that for abidance in the self, but because they don't have any interest only. So why will they want to work in the world? And their prarabdha also is not there in such a way that they have to work in the world. And Bhagavan wants their mind to be absorbed in that state, so it remains. Like our Tapovan Maharaj. So Gurudev is like the Brahmavit. Tapovan Maharaj we can say is like Brahmavittara. Tapovan Maharaj can be called Brahmavit Variyan and Brahmavit Varishta also. But anyway, that example to understand the difference we know. Tapovan Maharaj would go into Samadhi for long hours, again come out of it, maintain the body, again go back into Samadhi. So that's what they do. So they don't wander about spreading knowledge or organization. If somebody is there, he will give the knowledge, otherwise mind remains in that state. See, Tapovan Maharaj also is a relative example in this context. Here if we have to give proper certain examples, in their stages of sadhana when they have done that, where the mind has got absorbed fully, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or even Tapovan Maharaj, for days on end they will be in samadhi, the mind will not come down. Established reveling in that self only, bas. That is this. After that, Ramakrishna taught something to Vivekananda or Tapovan Maharaj taught Gurudev, all that. That will again come back into the previous category. So they shift between these. Depending on their own prarabdha, depending on will of the Lord, it keeps happening. So in this state, that is Brahma Vidvara. Now you may say, Abhi aur kya baki hai do stage ke liye? You see that realization of all the four is same. There is no difference in the realization of between 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th stage. The difference is only in the way in which the mind functions. And that also the difference is for you and me. Because some people we see are working in the world, some people we see are absorbed in samadhi, some people we see doing both, and some people, rare people, they get absorbed in samadhi, they don't come out at all. That is the last stage it will come. So it is only from our standpoint. But the abidance in the self of all the four stages is the same. There is no difference in that. So now what is the 6th stage? That is called Padartha Abhavana. Now you see the 6th one. Bhumika Panchakabhyasat Swatma Ramataya Bhrisham Abhyantaranam Bhahyanam Padarthanam Abhavanat Paraprayukte Nachiram Prayatnenavabodhanam पदार्था भावनी नाम षष्ठी भवति भूमिका. Bhumika panchakabhyasat, by the practice of the earlier five. Svatma ramataya bhrisham, when one has established oneself firmly in the self. Abhya antaranam bahyanam, this internal and external, all objects are disappeared. Padarthanam abhavana, they are not there. No internal memories, thoughts, desires, no external world, body identification, nothing. All gone. Then what happens? Paraprayuktena chiram prayatnena avabodhanam. This person can be brought out of this state of absorption by efforts of others. Paraprayuktena prayatnena avabodhanam. Padartha bhavani nama. By themselves they don't come out. Their mind is reveling in Brahman. No object, internal or external. So many times what happens is when we withdraw from external objects, internal memories, internal desires, internal visualizations, craving for pleasure, all that continues. That has to go away by upasana. Then only steady contemplation on the self will happen. Then only absorption will happen. So that's why earlier steps of upasana, japa are very important. Because that person has done all those earlier, and then the practice of nirvikalpa samadhi also one has done. Now the state is, earlier he was coming out by his own will, now he doesn't come out of his own will. Only if somebody disturbs them, they will come out. That too with great effort. Otherwise they won't come out. So earlier he comes out of his own will. Now when we say his own will, means not because he has some desire. Some past karma is there which pushes him out. So he comes out. Next stage, that kind of past karma is not there. You see, it's very interesting. Have you ever thought what makes us come out of deep sleep? Happily we are sleeping, deep sleep. Why do we come out? Brahman is, we are not experiencing Brahman directly, but absence of all agitation is such a blissful state. Why will we want to come out of that blissful state? What makes us get up every day morning? That is external symbol. Many times externally alarm can keep ringing, but if my mind is absorbed in sleep, I won't listen to alarm also. Some people come and ring the bell also, tung, 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 tung. Nothing, the mind is not aware because it's absorbed. Karma is that which pushes us out. Vasana and karma. So to exhaust that, we took this body, so it will push. Come on, get up now, do it. Why we are not able to get into sleep also sometimes is because of karma. And why we are not able to remain inside sleep? Because of karma. Both is karma only. By karma we mean everything, the vasana, desire, thought, that whole cycle. So here you just think about it. How deep can be vasanas of many, many janmas? Here is a person who has exhausted all such vasanas that need that person to come to level of body. You just see what a high state that is. Body, that person doesn't need to come down to body level at all. Internal karmic pressure is not there to come out to body level to exhaust some karma. Very, very high level of evolution. Then why some people will force them out? That is because they want some knowledge out of them or some blessing. Such people you should not disturb only. Because how to come to that level, you see? They are not people who are simply sitting trying to imitate somebody or trying to imitate that I am in great meditation. They already crossed body identification and all. Their mind is absorbed in that state. You know, when we are doing some work with single pointedness, if somebody disturbs us, how irritating we feel. Simplest example for that is when we are in a talk and somebody's phone rings. That one ring of the phone is enough. Everybody in the audience will turn and look at that person with such burning eyes. Why is your phone ringing right now? Why is that anger rising? Because I got disturbed. In a simple talk, if we do like that. And what is the talk all about? Be equanimous. Be calm. And one phone has to ring and full equanimity gone. Let it ring. But the best part is that person will be fumbling to get that phone out. Until that person doesn't get the phone out, everybody is seeing that how much that person is fumbling and why is the person not getting it. And if the person got the phone, now still the person is taking time to put it off. Why somebody is not helping? How much thought disturbance already happened? And what are you listening? With single pointedness, listen about Brahman. Where the mind is in phone, why is the phone not coming? What is the model of the phone? What is the ringtone of the phone? Why can't they put on silent? How many thoughts? All gone. Mind is gone away from there. Small one little phone call can disturb our mind. Now these people are in such deep states. You see, that is one of the reasons why, if you see in Bhagavad and Purana, some of these, examples when they come, that Sagar Raja's 60,000 children, as well as Parikshit Raja, both of them, they did the similar thing. That a rishi is in deep meditation and they put a dead snake around the neck. So the son who came, when they saw that this is what they have done to my father, felt insulted and cursed them. So in the case of Parikshit Raja, the son cursed that, seventh day this Takshak will kill you. And in case of that Sagar Raja's 60,000 children, this rishi only opened the eyes and all the 60,000 children were burnt to ashes. So just imagine the power of that. Not that the person is feeling anger. When the person came out of it, got disturbed, came out of it, the conserved mind energy is so much, and prarabdha of those people also must be like that they have to perish. This person is not having a vaira bhavana to destroy them. Their exit was written like that. So when he opened the eyes, they all burnt. So now this is their state where they will not come down. If somebody pushes them to come out for beneficial or any other reason, they come down to that level. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say sometimes that keep some rasgulla nearby. When I come out of samadhi, give me that rasgulla so that I can connect to the body and then I will be able to talk to people. Not because he wants to eat rasgulla, so that the attention of the mind will come to body so that he will be able to explain something to people. So here is this state where Padartha Bhavana, there is no sense perception, there is no internal memory, no body identification, and no karmic vasana which makes them come out. Somebody has to push, which means what? Internal pressure is not there for them, but externally some karma must be still remaining that has to be accomplished through that body, so somebody will get them out. In our case, many times there is internal pressure. Try 1 hour, you try to meditate. In 20 minutes, the mind wants to open the eyes and see. At least if nothing, just open the eyes. Mind wants to feel, no? When we did that meditation session, 10 days session when we did, no? This relaxation when I do, I generally start with 30 minutes and take up to 40-45 minutes. But actually the 30 minutes also is very difficult for many people. One has to start with very small 10 minutes, then slowly increase to 15, slowly 20. Like that it has to go slowly. So we tell the mind also, for the next 20 minutes I will not make any movement, sit steady. But as time goes, When the duration increases to 20 to 30, the last 10 minutes the mind becomes very restless. Instead of mind becoming quieter, the mind becomes more restless. Why? Because it is not used to this. That's called internal pressure, where I want to open, I want to come down to the senses level, body level, and then I want to see the world. Now look at this state. These people don't come to this level at all. They don't have any internal pressure to come to body level. If somebody from outside pushes them, then they come. And the last stage is the seventh stage. That is Turiyaga, transcendence. So this person, who is this person now? So first one is Brahmavid. Then second person is called Brahmavid Vara. Now this is Brahmavid Variyan. I don't know in English what you call. There are only 3 degrees in English. Here we have Vittara, Variyan, and then Varishta. 4 are there. So here is called Brahmavid Varishta. And his state is considered as Gada Sushupti. Earlier stage was Sushupti. This is Gada Sushupti. Why? Because no perception of anything. Earlier he was coming out of Sushupti by his will. Like how we come out of deep sleep because of our karmic reasons. We come from deep sleep to dream to waking. Here there is no push to come out at all. So Gada Sushupti. Please remember, Gada Sushupti means not that he is in Sushupti Avastha. It is compared to that state. But there is ignorance. Here there is realization of the truth. Absorption is there in this. Now the last stage is no return. When Bhagavan actually says in the Gita, Yad Gatva na nivartante, Tadhama paramam mama, one meaning is having established in the truth, one will never come back to the realm of ignorance again. General meaning. But very deep meaning can be this also, that this person will never ever come out after getting established into that state, will never come down to body level and drop the body just like that from that state only. So the shloka here is Bhumi Shatka Chirabhyasad Bhedasyanupalambhanat Yatsvabhavaikanishthatvam Sagneyaturiyaga sthitihi. Bhumi Shatka Chira Abhyasat, by long practice of the earlier 6. Bhedasya Anupalambhanat. There is no plurality, absolutely. No body identification, no world. This Triputi has long back gone. Mind is absorbed. No internal pressure. Nothing is there. Yat Svabhavaika Nishthatvam. What is there? Only abidance in the self. Nothing else. No external pressure, no internal pressure, nothing. No karmic consequence externally also that somebody can bring this person out. That also is not there. So karmically, externality, no reasons for this person to be pushed out. Internally, no vasana pressure to come out. Purest mind this is. Purest. Sagneya Turyaga Sthiti. This is called Turyaga. Established in this truth. Why it is called Turyaga? So the meaning given here is Ga means to attain. And Turiya is the 4th state. Waking, dream, deep sleep, so we keep going round. This is the state established in which nothing, no coming back again into the false identification. So Turiyaga. Now in this person, what has happened? This person is called Brahmavid Varishta. That person, Ramakrishna used to say, 21 days, the body, if that person is in samadhi, in this state, in 21 days, the body will perish. The body cannot handle this at all. It will perish in 21 days. But if there is some karma left for that body, that body's karma or people, then Ishvara protects that body. So if a Mahatma comes back from Samadhi, it is only meaning that some divine will is there and some Loka Kalyan has to happen, so the Mahatma has come out. Otherwise they don't have a internal reason for coming out. And in this case, so there is no external reason also. These types of people are the rarest people. You and I don't get to meet them. Not meet them, meaning at this stage when they come, then we cannot interact with them because now they will not come down. In the earlier stages, sometimes they come down. You can push them out, shake the body or do certain things, they will come down. That also happens only because of some karmic reason. In this, they don't have that karma also. Their mind just absorbed in that state, no internal karma, no external karma, nothing. The body will just drop from there. 21 days also, Ramakrishna said, they may go much before that also. Ramakrishna said 21 days because he said that if the body lasts for 21 days in this condition, then it comes out, then that means only it is a will of Ishvara that some divine work has to happen through this entity. Otherwise, the body will not last this state. When we read this, then we get scared. Arey baapre, aisi kaisi sthiti hai. If we go into this state, we will never come out. No, Swamiji, I am happy with the earlier 6 stages. Ye 7th humko nahi chahiye. But you and I feel like that because we have attachment to the body, to the world, you ask these Mahatmas, nothing. No pressure at all. See, Tivra Vairagya itself is a state where the mind is not interested in the world. This is beyond Tivra Vairagya, gone into the state of Samadhi, absolute bliss is experiencing, and all the ignorance and everything is burnt away. Vasana, ignorance, entire Sanchit Karma, all burnt. Prarabdha Karma, etc. is also not so much that that person needs to come out into the world. Why will that person want to come out? In fact, the masters who establish in the self, for them to come to the body level is a pain. Forget the masters. Ordinary jivas who drop the body and go out and again get back into the body, what they call near-death experience, NDE. Those people itself feel what a pain it is to come back into the body. From subtle body state to come back into gross body itself is a pain. Here these masters have crossed all attachment to gross body, subtle body, causal body, everything gone and then absorbed in the self. Why will they want to ever come back? They come back for Loka Kalyan or they come back because of God's will. In the earlier stages they come back. In this stage, no coming back. Bhagavan says, no need. From here only I will meet you directly. Chalo, aa jao mere paas. Ab bas ho gaya abhi. I am just saying it figuratively. Don't think like that. Even Bhagavan is standing there and telling mere paas aa jao and all that. The idea is that there is no we say fuel. There is no fuel left. Nothing will happen now. This person is absorbed in the self and body will just perish. Gone. Which is why this person, where the body drops also is not bothered. In Tattvabodh it is said, he may drop the body in Kashi or he may drop the body in a house of a Chandala. It makes no difference because they is already absorbed in that state. For ordinary jiva, it matters where to drop the body because the environment affects us so much. So if we are in Kashi, then we remember Bhagavan because that place is like that. And then also it is said Shivji gives the Tarak mantra to the jiva who drops the body in Kashi. So Ram mantra is initiated by Shivji to the jiva when the jiva drops the body, and through that the jiva goes across. All those things the scripture says. So where to drop the body is important for the jiva. But for this Brahmagnani, nothing. Body identification long back gone. Absorbed in the self. No fuel is there to come back. Internally, externally, no fuel. Gone straight. So this is the last stage. This is Turyaga. Now this whole description is given, summarized beautifully in this chart. Shubhecha, desire for liberation, compared to Jagrad Avastha. See, it's an appellation. It is not exactly equal to Jagrad Avastha. Like how we are in Jagrad Avastha, we see things really, we see things as though they are real. It is like that. What is the attitude? I am still a seeker. Then Vicharana means Shravan and Manan. Again compared to Jagrat, still a seeker. Tanumanasa is like Nididhyasana and Savikalpa Samadhi. Again Jagrat Avastha. Still a seeker. Why this is Savikalpa also Jagrat? Because Triputi is still there. See, till the Triputi is there, it is considered as Jagrat and still a seeker. Then the Triputi goes in Sattvapatti, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So now that is called as Swapna. Why it is called as Swapna? Because even though one is seeing the self, one is seeing the world, one is still thinking of it as a, not thinking, one is knowing it as a illusion. So it's Swapna. And that person is called Brahmavit. Asamsakti is when the person comes out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi of its own, again compared to Sushupti Avastha. Because in that Sushupti, the Triputi goes away. Same way here also the Triputi goes away. And the world is not experienced. But whenever this person comes back, then the world is experienced. Brahma Vidvara. Then Padartha Bhavana. Only if somebody pushes this person out, disturbs, then this person comes out of the Samadhi. Internal pressure is not there. Gada Sushupti it is compared to. Deep sleep. Deep sleep. Brahmavid Variyan. And Turyaga is does not wake up from Nirvikalpa Samadhi at all. Swamiji, will this happen in stages or suddenly will I jump to seventh one? अगर हम सेवेंथ में पहुंच गए और नहीं आए तो डेंजर है स्वामी जी. I have to make arrangements, my family, people, everybody has to be told how to handle it. It doesn't happen like that. Nobody jumps straight to seventh one. These other stages have to properly happen. Seventh can happen only by some karma. Prarabdha of that jiva is such that all the internal, external forces, everything gone. Now that person exits. Remember, realization is same in all the four. The last four, realization is the same. It's not that this Brahmavit will be again reborn and then he has to then become Brahmavit Tara and then Brahmavit Variyan and then No. Each realized master's prarabdha is different. So in some cases, these realized masters will be like that where they have exhausted some prarabdha and gone straight into seventh level. In some cases, it will be that they will go in stages. Some cases, it will be that they will be only at the first level, Brahmavit level, and they are realized. So it all depends on the past karma of that jiva, whatever that jiva has done. So I will conclude with this and then I'll come to your question. So the last thing here said is this, that the analogy is given, no? When we said Jnana Bhumi. So the seed is the direct cause of the sprout. And the sprout comes only when there is proper conducive environment. So this conducive environment for mukti is what? This Aham Brahmasmi is the seed that is sown. Steady contemplation is the seed. Now that when this seed is sown, the right environment of samadhi has to be given. So Savikalpa, Nirvikalpa, Sahaja, all this, when we do steady practice, then this Brahmajnan arises. The fruit of realization arises. This person is called as a Jivan Mukta. Now Vedanta distinguishes between Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is while realization with the body, in the body, but there's still one more step after this. Jivan Mukti is Videha Mukti. What is that? That will be covered in the next section. Two more beautiful verses given here. That what is the state of this person? Anta shunya bahi shunya shunya kumbha ivambare anta purno bahi purna purna kumbha ivarnave. Beautiful description. Anta shunya, emptiness within, emptiness outside. Bahi shunya. Shunya eva shunya kumbha ivambare, like the pot which is in space. So the pot which is in space, there is inside also nothing in the pot. Outside also there is nothing. It's only space, and the space pot itself is in the space. But somebody may think that, oh God, this is a state of blankness. No, they say, no, it's not a state of blank. It is like the pot which is in the ocean. The second example is Purna, because the experience of this person in the absence of everything is not a blank. In the absence of everything, the experience is of fullness. So Anta Purna Bahi Purna. The person sees inside also is Purnata, outside also is Purnata. Like the pot which is put in the water. Like in the Narayana Suktam it says, Antar Bahishcha Tatsarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. Inside, outside is only one absolute truth. It is not a blankness. So that is explained here. Then why Shunya? Shunya is written. Shunya is written to make us aware that none of this experience is there in that state. Not of the body, mind, intellect, of the jiva, of the vasana, of avidya is not there. That's why Anta Shunya and Bahishunya. Shunya Kumbha Ivambari. So when I become empty like that, dropping all the identification, then what is the experience? Purnatva. Advaitam kechid icchanti, dvaitam icchanti kechana, samam brahmana jananti, dvaita advaita vivarjitam. Some people assert about non-duality, that Brahman alone is real. Some people assert about duality, saying no, Ishvara is real, Jiva is always a servant of Ishvara. So they keep fighting between Advaita and Dvaita. Samam Brahmana Jananti. Nobody knows that this Brahman is beyond this Dvaita and Advaita, is absolute state which is beyond all description. Which is that state which this person realized. The Jivan Mukta realizes this state. Advaita also is to negate what is not there. It is a state of negation, a Dvaita. So if you negate all duality, what remains finally is that absolute state. So it is beyond Advaita as a philosophy, and Advaita as a philosophy, and intellectually one can keep doing discussion and arguments on that. But the truth is something beyond both. One has to experience. Now just think of these 7 states, how much practice it is. Last time we saw Savikalpa, Nirvikalpa, Sahaj Samadhi. That itself is so high state. Now usme these 3 other states have got added. Ki the person will, 4 other states actually. The person experiences the truth but works in the world. Person experiences the truth maximum time, comes out of his own will, or comes out of by the push of others, or doesn't come out at all. See the greatness of the rishis. They did not hide this truth from us. The 7th state. They didn't say, "Arey bichare dar jayenge, inko batane ki zarurat nahi hai." They said it. Ki this is the fact now. Now you decide if you want to walk the truth. Walk the path and reach the truth. Not that everybody will come. But the point is, why do I want to, why am I even scared that I will not come back? Why do we want to come back? Best is actually that state, 7th one. Absorb the mind and gone, khatam baat. Because people in the world, where are they going to recognize the realized master? It is ulta only. They will condemn, criticize, because what the realized master says they can't understand. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami. The world to which this master is awake, these people are asleep to that realization. And the objects to which the people are awake, the master is asleep to that, doesn't exist. So they don't even have a desire to come back. So that anyway, Bhagwan's Ichha it is. If it has to happen, it will happen. The body will act, something work will happen in the world. Our concern is not even that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, which should I choose? It's not like a buffet that I can choose. By karma anyway it will work. I have to try to become shunya, empty. Yeah, you had a question. Yes. Yeah. Because it will happen only by abhyas. Because see, correct, because the karma has to be burnt. see the correct. That's why I said from you cannot jump from fourth to seventh straight. Fifth and sixth one may pass through, or the process of fifth and sixth in terms of the clearing of the karmas and vasanas etc. will happen. See, fifth and sixth is only where he comes out of his will or somebody pushes out. If those karmas are not there, because in the fourth itself, if that is burnt away, then one goes straight to seventh. From fourth to seventh, one may go in the sense that some, let us say for 5-6 years or 2-3 years, that person is working in level 4. After that goes away straight into seventh. That is also possible. Or one may go 4, 5, 6, 7. Or one may go straight from third to seventh. But they will pass through those karmic dissolutions will happen. Fat. So they will pass through quickly. Is only meant for that much to understand. Because this doesn't happen overnight. No, what was said? How does it happen overnight? Steady practice is required, abidance is required. Which is what Vedanta says, that realization is not a instant. And it is not gradual also. That is a strange thing. It is not a step-by-step process. Waking up is waking up. That's it. But the process is in the preparation of the mind. Then one wakes up like this. Through abidance of the self, then one wakes up. So this completes 20, lesson 20. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.